Uh, I will prepare soon YouTube link for her. Right, we are going YouTube Live. Right. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I need to introduce. Right. I need to introduce you all about this task one in a very proper manner. Right. Task when it comes to general. Right. Abhi general වලට එනකොට හොඳට right. When we are coming to general, we need to understand that general task, right? අපි general task එකක් ගැන කතා කරනකොට general task එකේදී මුළු මනින්ම right අපි letter එකකට සීමා වෙලා තියෙන but what I can suggest you is right what I can suggest you is and what I'm suggesting you is right to use new words, right? Not common, not common words, but uh, something very new, right? New words. That's what you need to do, right? Without using a new word, right? Without using new words, don't try to write. All right? Don't write anything. And the next ultimate thing which you need to know is that you need to use an outline, right? An outline. Outlining means a line which we are using to give a basic idea about what is going to happen in our essay or letter, which will help us to understand and write in a very proper manner, right? Which will be helpful to us to understand it and write in a very positive manner, right? ඒ විදිහට ලියන්න තමයි අපි මේක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. All right. So Lakmali, as you are the only one with us for IELTS general, I thought to give you a basic introduction about that, right? So when it comes to letters, right, we need to understand that we have several types of letters, right? The first one is formal, right? The first one is formal, all right? The second one is semi-formal, right? And the third one is informal, right? This is what we need to understand. We cannot use all these cases, right? We cannot mix these cases, right? අපිට බෑ මේ cases ටික mix කරන්න, right? If you mix them up, right? If you mix them up, that means you are in a very bad position, right? You are in a very bad position when you are writing. All right? When you will be in a bad position. මට එච්චරයි කියන්නේ. හරි? ඔයා එතනම සම්පූර්ණව ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයකට මුහුණ දෙනවා. Right? ඒ නිසා you need to understand that we have to use an outline for everything, right? We need to have an outline. So I'll show you a video on general IELTS strategies and grades. 2 videos you need to go through, which will help you to have a basic idea about what you need to do, right? This will be pretty much okay for, I'm not telling that for you guys for academics, but this will be somewhat helpful, right?
Okay, everybody. Welcome to our series of lectures on the Task 1 General Letter. There have been several requests that I put together a lecture series that covers the general letter for the IELTS exam. There are students who are studying the IELTS exam for immigration purposes, or they are trying to get their licensing done and they need the IELTS exam to prove their English level. Or sometimes people are doing it for a job in their own country where they need some type of proof of their English level. So, section I'm going to IELTS general letter is, if you have bad handwriting, you need to improve your handwriting. If I have bad handwriting, what do? Write better. You practice it. You can get better at doing it.
So here,
basically,
this is what they are looking for, right? This is what they are looking for. and how you are engaging in personal responses, and how you gather factual information, right? And express need, wants, like and dislike, right? And how you use the language to convey these cases to others. This is what they are looking for, right? And when it comes to writing letters, we need to understand we have three formats. Those formats are formal format, right? You have an example here. You are recently read an advertisement about the equipment that you bought a few days ago. However, the information in the advertisement was wrong. Write a letter to the manufacturer and say. So it's a formal one, right? And this is how semi-formal look like, right? This is how semi-formal look like. You are an alumna of
A friend about
university, registered in a volunteer program to conduct informal interviews with the prospective students. Recently, an entrant had been assigned
a
to
business.
you to have an interview, right? So it's a semi-formal one. Right? It's a semi-formal because you are writing about something, right? You are a third party person. So it belongs to semi-formal, and the formal form, informal format. Write a letter to a friend. Directly it says, right? Directly it says. Directly it says that it's an informal propaganda, right? You need to understand. All right. This is the first thing which you need to have a better idea about Lakma, right? Make a tamai, oya, godakma, avadane yomu karla diye. I'll come to the graph tracking later. There are normally three parts of the letter request. Follow this request exactly and be sure to address what is required, right? All right. So the next one is there is no need for interpretation or going beyond the requirement, right? You don't have any case you're not required to go beyond what they expect, right? You must write more than 150, right? Writing more does not mean a higher score. You need to remember, right? You can write more, but it doesn't guarantee a higher requirement to you. You do not need to write an address. That's what you need to remember when you're writing an essay, right? Writing a letter like Mali. And this is what we normally have. This is the format of the letter, right? Intro, 1 and 2 sentences, 2 minutes. This is how much time, this is the time limitations, right? මේක තමයි ඔයාට දීලා තියෙන time limitation එක ගන්න. හරිද? මේ time limitation එකේ තමයි පුතේ ඔයා දුවන්න ඕනේ. Alright. මෙන්න තියෙන time limitation එක. Time gap එකත් එක්කම ඔයාට දීලා තියෙන time limitation එක මෙච්චරයි ඔයාට දෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙලාව. ඔයාට මෙතනින් එහා කිසිම වෙලාවක් දෙන්න බෑ. Right? ඔයාට මෙතනින් එහා ඔයා දෙන්න ගියා කියන්නේ ඔයා එතනම මොකද වෙන්නේ? වැඩේ යන ගන්නවා. Right? ඒ නිසා පුතේ මතක ඇතුව when you are writing, right? Please be careful. All right? Please. That's a request. Please. All right? ඒ නිසා හොඳට කල්පනා කරලා බලලා මෙන්න මේ තියෙන format එකේ ලියන්න, because if you go beyond this format, your time will be, right, in a very deep trouble, because you know that you have 20 minutes to do everything, right? You have 20 minutes to do everything. All right? Or විනාඩි 20යි තියෙන්නේ පුතේ. මම දෙයක්ම කරගන්න ඔයාට විනාඩි 20යි තියෙන්නේ. So you need to understand that within this 20 minutes you need to complete, right? So strictly follow the time gaps which is there in this format. Don't go beyond it, right? Don't go beyond that, because you'll not be able to control this, right? So As soon as you get something like this, what you need to do is you need to do an outline, right? You need to do an outline, right? Outline. What is the importance of when it comes to the importance of the outline? You need to understand that outline, right, is the major way, right? Is the major way which will help you to score marks, right? Marks when it comes to what? Coherence and cohesion. ඔයා coherence and cohesion කියන concept එකෙන් ඔයා ලකුණු ඔයාට එන්න තියෙන පළවෙනිම target එක තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? ඔයාට පළවෙනිම target එක. You need to have a flow. All right? You need to have a flow. When you are writing, you need to have a flow. ඔයා ලියනකොට ඔයාට flow එකක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? ඔයා ලියන්නේ මොකේද කියන එකට ඔයා flow එකක් තියාගෙන දුවන්න ඕනේ. You cannot just write. All right? This is why most of you are failing, right? Most of you are fail, right? When it comes to writing games. හරිද? මේ outline එකක් නැතුව දුවන එක තමයි පුතේ ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ. ගොඩක් අයට ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නයක් කරලා තියෙන ඔන්න outline එකක් නැතුව you are just going. එක class එකකවත් ඕක කියන්නේ outline එකට මූලික දැන දෙන්න කියලා. right? මොකද outline එකෙන් තමයි ඔය පාලනය කරගන්නේ. right? ඒකෙන් ඔයා පාලනය කරන්නේ. So if you do not follow it, right? If you do not follow it, I know that definitely you will be in trouble. So do an outline like this. Outline 1 minute, part 1, Yellowstone National Park, right? So here you have something like this, right? Write a letter to your friend about your plans to go out with him or her and another friend on a small picnic, right? So include the following in the letter. This is what you need to include in your letter. All right, this is what you need to include in your letter. So you have to arrange everything according to the question which they have asked, right? එයාලා ඔයාගෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහලා තියෙනවා. ඒ ප්‍රශ්නයට අනුව තමයි උත්තරේ follow up එක දීගෙන යන්නේ, right? ලක්මලි ඔන්න ඕක මතක තියාගන්න. හරිද? මෙන්න තියෙනවා ඔයාට අවශ්‍යම කරන දේ. ඔයා මේක හරියට ගහගත්තොත් ලක්මාලි ඔයාට මේක අමාරු නෑ කරන්න. right? So please pay your attention to the outline. And then what you need to understand is you need to use uncommon words, right? You need to use uncommon words when you're writing. Don't repeat the same again and again and again because it will be a big damage to you, right? මම ඔයාලට පොතක් කියුවේ. ඒ පොතේ තියෙනවා අපිට ඕන හැමදේම, right? ඒ පොත පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න, which will help you a great deal. Okay, after you use this very very uncommon word, right? Uncommon word. What you can do is, right? Try to change your what? Try to change your sentence pattern. All right. Try to change your sentence pattern. You need to change your sentence patterns, right? You know that we have simple sentences, complex sentences, compound sentences, and compound complex sentences. You need to use every type of sentences, right? Every type of sentences which are available in English when you are writing, which will help you to score more, right? That will help you to score more. If you don't do that, right? If you are using only simple sentences, yes, you can earn, but you'll be in a trouble. Less marks. All right. This is an informal letter. All right. With what kind of letter you get, identify it, and then do the outline. All right, then do the outline, because it will not help you to it will help you to find your way on it if you face any troubles. Right, this is the second part. Let's go.
right? You have to be able to. I know that's a little corny, but it's true, right? A lot of you are walking around with locked doors and you're looking for the keys to success, and I'm going to give them to you. Right? So, part number one for keys to a high score. Make sure that you addressed all the parts of the question, every part of the question. Right? A lot of times people don't do that. They address point number one in 3 sentences, point number one in 1 sentence. You have to address all parts of the question and do it with the right purpose and the right tone. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the next lecture in terms of tone and language. Coherence is very important. You have to have proper paragraphs. As you heard in the first lecture, you have 5 parts, right? Those are 5 separate parts. All right? Cohesion deals with logical sequence. You can't talk about part number 3 before you talk about part number 1.
Right, this is what you need to do to enhance your vocabulary. Right, sorry, marks. This is what you need to do. Mali, pay your attention. Right, cover up all the parts. The first one is you need to cover up all the parts. Basic question, basic requirement. Each key part is highlighted sufficiently and equivalently. Clear purpose, current note, right? Everything included is relevant. You need to have a correct tone, right? You need to have a correct tone. If it's an formal one, you need to have an official tone. If it's a informal, if it's an informal one, you need to have an informal tone. And if it's a semi-formal one, you need to have a semi-formal tone, right? This is what you need to understand. All right, this is what you need to understand. If you cannot understand this case, you'll be in big trouble, right? And this is correct for the academic task 2 also, the academic task 1 also, right? You need to have a better understanding about what are the main key components which you need to follow up, right? You cannot write each and every thing in your way. What a hammer them graph weva. Me letter එකේ වේවා සේරම දේවල් දාලා ලියන්න යන්න එපා, right? Don't do it. It's just a crazy work, right? All right, so what you need to do is you need to have a clear purpose on what you do, right? Clear purpose on what you do. You need to be pretty much straightforward on what you do, right? Yeah, simply your purpose should be clear, right? When a reader starts to go through your body paragraph or whatever, the person should be that person should have a chance to understand what you are writing or what you are writing by looking at the very first sentence. Coherence. When it comes to coherence, paragraphing, right? Paragraphing, that's a must, right? Paragraphs करने का only वारम करा. Paragraph no करेंगे, right? You need to do it, right? एक करना करंडा बो, करेंगे paragraphing करना. Then what you need to understand is you need to have a logical consequences, right? You need to have a logical consequence, right? You cannot jump here and there, all right? You cannot jump here and there. You cannot go here and there. The first part should be the first part and the second part should be the second part. All right, and you need to indicate a clear cut progression. You need to indicate a clear cut progression, right? ඔයාගේ හැමතැනම ඔයා clear cut progression එකක් තියෙනවා. All right, without any clear cut progression, don't write, because it will not help you to be perfect. හරිද? ඒක ඔයාට help කරන ගන්න නෑ ඔයාට perfect. Right? Please, 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 this is a request, please, right? Do it if you need to go through. Or if you need to go through, you need to do it. All right, please, a request, right? Use cohesive devices. You need to use cohesive devices. Clear, right? Cohesion means to keep the person's attention on the question being answered, right? You need to keep the attention of your reader. All right, you need to keep it with your writing. All right, you need to keep them in your you need to keep them in your writing. You cannot take them out. You cannot let them to go away from you, right? If I'm the examiner, and if I don't feel that you are very straightforward and you are very directly, you are telling whatever you need to tell, all right, I might not pretty much interested on what you do. All right, I'll definitely take you down. Okay, so please, right? Vocabulary, a wide range of vocabulary. It should be sophisticated one. All right, it should be sophisticated one. No errors, right? Proper word should be selected, right? Proper words should be selected. All right, all right, and communication never interfered with something, right? Your communication should be direct and forward. All right, all right. All right, for and use uncommon lexical items. You need to use uncommon lexical items. Okay, those items should be simply uncommon words, right? That's what you need to do. Okay, මේ තියෙන දේවල් ටික මතක තියාගන්න, academic වලට අදාළ, right? ඒකත් ඔබ තියාගන්න. All right, second, collocation is very important concept for any language. Put simply, it means you need to get your word combination right, right? You need to use correct words, right? Correct collocations when you are writing, right? Grammar, a wide range of grammar, error-free, right? A variety of sentence structures and no punctuation mistakes. Please, you cannot use any, you cannot do any punctuation mistakes. Okay, go through your punctuation notes if you have, because that's a must, right? That's a must. Make a must. කොහොමද ඒක කරන්න ඕනේ? හරිද? නැත්තම් මෙන්න ලකුණු අඩු වෙන්නේ. Punctuation mark එක පවා will be deadly for you. All right, and when you're highlighting, the points, it should be clear, right? Highlights the purpose clearly with synonym language, right? Synonym, all right? Synonyms. You need to use synonyms, right? Or synonyms පාවිච්චි කරන්න. Synonym language එක අනිවාර්යයි. Why? You need to use it for paraphrasing cases, right? You need to use them for paraphrasing cases, right? Don't overuse everything. Don't overuse anything, all right? Don't overuse anything, right? Synonyms, pronouns, transitions, sentence pattern, right? You cannot use that again and again, same one, right? Again and again, then you will be in a very big trouble. Okay. The next case, right? You need to think about proper spellings, right? Proper spellings should be there. You cannot write improper cases, right? මතක තියාගන්න ශබ්ද වෙන විදිහට වචන ලියන්න යන්න එපා. A wide range of structures of sentences, error-free sentences, rare errors in word formation, right? Wrong word ending, and වචන end කරන එක හරියට කරන්න, all right? And use correct adjective forms. This is what you need to do, right? You need to be on the topic, right? You need to be on the topic, right? Follow the topic, strictly follow the topic, right? Don't go beyond it, right? Don't go beyond it. Use English grammar and syntax accurately, right? You need to use them accurately. Okay. Use appropriate language in terms of register, style, and concept. You need to select an style. It should be appropriate, right? Style, how you need to, how you are telling it, right? Style means what is the way you put forward something. All right, please, this is a must. All right, avoid, right? Don't do that. Failure to cover all the points. Try to cover all the points. Failure to cover up all the points equally. සමාන විදිහට මේව කරන්න cover up කරන්න නැති එක කරන්න එපා. Unclear purpose and incorrect tone. Unclear purpose. You need to be pretty much straightforward, right? කෙලින්ම කියන්න. And you need to have a direct tone, right? You need to have a direct tone. ඒ කියන්නේ එතනට ගැලපෙන tone එක ඔයා ගාව තියෙන්න. හරිද? එතනට ගැලපෙන tone එක මොකද්ද? අන්න ඒක ඔයා ගාව තියෙන්න ඕන. Personal නම් personal, informal නම් informal, right? Formal නම් formal. Failure to separate paragraph. All right? You cannot use, right? You cannot use more than one or two sentence ideas within one paragraph, right? One or two sentence ideas within one paragraph, right? Failure to understand quality and over quantity. You need to identify whether you need to identify what they are actually seeking from, right? What they are actually seeking from you. Is it something a qualitative one, or is it something quantitative? If you cannot understand that, you are the person who are making a mistake which will directly affect you. ඔයාටම affect වෙන එකක් ඔයාට shot එකක් වදින එකක් ඔයාම තමයි පුතේ ලියන්නේ. Right? ඕක මතක තියාගන්න. This is your next video, right? The last video for you, Lakmali, for generals.
Okay, formal letter, and you're using informal language, your task response score is going to drop, right? You're not responding to the letter properly. One of the things that you can really do to help your task response score is to make sure that your tone is correct. So on the next few slides that I go through, I'm just going to be showing you some examples of formal and informal language, and so you can really understand that difference. Now, some people write me and they ask me things like, can you give me the perfect formal language and the perfect informal language? Give me the perfect words to use. Look, I can't do that. All right? It's not possible to give you the perfect language because a lot of times it depends on the question. The question is going to say what words you use, right? So there are no perfect words. There are some general words you use in terms of formal language and informal language. You definitely have to understand the difference between words that are considered formal and words that are considered informal. But there is no perfect list or perfect words you can use, right? But hopefully after you watch or listen and watch this lecture that I'm about to start, you'll have a better understanding of formal and informal language and when and how to use it. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so here are some key points. Now, as you know, if you want to read something on the screen more carefully, just stop the video, take notes, and look at it. Right? Stop the video, take notes, write down, but sometimes people say, well, you're going through it too fast. Well, I have a time limit on how long a video can be. But if you need to stop to take notes, just stop the video or listen again. So, first thing, formal language makes use of complex and compound structures. Look at sentence 1 and sentence 2, and you'll see the difference between the informal and the formal. Informal, in 2001, the bridge was built. That was good politically, two countries united. Sentence 2, the bridge was completed in 2001, which resulted in a positive political move that united two countries. That's more formal. See the difference? One thing that I will say before I keep going forward is that task number 2, the long essay, is a formal essay. It's a formal essay. It's not an informal essay. So really, when you're doing task number 2, that's why I advise you to use compound and complex sentences and your conjunctive, correlative, and your conditional sentences, and using all the different forms and higher forms of grammar and your adjective clauses, because it's a formal essay, right? So, I digress. I'm sorry for going off about that, but that's something important for you to understand. Task 2 is a formal essay. Let's keep going. B, formal language does not use contractions, right? You're using a lot of contractions, I'll, those kind of I've, it's. Formal language is going to be I have, it is. All right, so that's something important to understand. Formal language is objective, not like what you see.
All right. මෙතන මෙහා පෙන්වන්නේ ඔයාලට formal language එක පාවිච්චි කරන එකේ වටිනා. Right? Try to use formal language as much as you can because it will be pretty much upset if you cannot use formal cases, right? Formal එක තමයි පුළුවන් තරම් ඔයාලගෙන් වදින්න ඕනේ. හරිද? මොකද formal එක නැති වුණොත් alright guys, it will be a trouble. You need to understand that formal is the way formal one should be the language which they are looking for. Alright, please, right? Please, right? Please, this is what you need to understand. Okay, please. Well, academic karna hai, right? If you are doing academic, use simple and formal language, not informal. හරිද? Informal පැති වලට මේක අරගෙන යන්න එපා because you will be in a deep trouble. මම ඒක පැහැදිලිව දන්නවා. හරිද? ඒ නිසා පරිස්සමෙන් ලියන්න. All right. Please, it's a request. Okay, it's a great request which I need you to do. ඔයාලට කරන්න තියෙන එකම request එක. All right, please. If you do something wrong, මෙතනින් එහා දෙයක් ඔයා පාවිච්චි කරොත් අදිස්සිය. I know I cannot guarantee. I cannot give you any guarantee about your result. Right? ඔය මම කතා කරේ පුතේ general ගැන. Right? General ලියවෙන්න ඕන විදිහ. මම ඔයාට දැන් පෙන්නන්නම් general response එකක් මම පෙන්නන්නම් ඊට පස්සේ මම යනවා academic වල. I don't know whether it's clear.
Okay, everybody. Now we are moving into section 3. We're moving into section 2 of our lecture series on the general letter. And what we're going to be doing in this section is we're going to look at the application of the theory or application of the strategy and tactics. As I mentioned to you in the previous lectures in section 1, you want to be able to look at the question, do an outline, and have your 5 parts that you want to be able to show. All right, so let's take a look at this first letter here. All right, let's take a look at this first letter here. And always on the exam, it's going to be something like this. Right? It says your local council is considering a sports and leisure center that it runs in order to save money. Write a letter to the local council. In your letter, give details of how you and your friends or family use.
So this is a local, this is a formal letter, right? You need to start it like more than I prefer if you can if you use dear. Rather than that, I prefer what? Respected Madam Moser. All right, respected Madam Moser. Right? Mama ila eka godamma mama yoga. Please. ඒ විදිහට පටන් ගන්න. Right? And the next case is you need to give straightforward sentences. Right? Straightforward sentences then. Getting a straightforward down, not downwards, right? Maybe there are cardinal paragraph per color. When make a tamaguda karanadina hondamadi, right? I'll make a letter when I one now, right? I'll make it when I one now. All right. So please, right? Please, a request. All right. And now I'm moving to academic cases, right? I'm moving to academic cases. All right. When it comes to academic, we need to understand that we have a format to write, right? We have a format to write, a strict format, right? A strict format, you know, okay? Strict format. The first one is intro, right? Introduction. That means you need to paraphrase the question, right? Right? You need to paraphrase the question. You need to write the question in your own words, right? Then overview. But I like if you can write this as a general one. GE means general, right? GE means general. I prefer if you can use it as general. All right. Remember that. And after writing the general overview, okay, general overview, what I can tell you is come to specific, right, details, right? What you need to do is you need to write your specific details, right, to support, right, to support support your general overview. Right? Then what you need to do is you need to conclude. Right? Conclude. This is how you need to write. But when it comes to maps, right? When it comes to maps, all right, diagram, process cases. All right, don't try to write a conclusion. Conclusion right? Because there's no need to write it. All right, because it's not going to give any kind of, you know, forward thing to you. All right. So when it comes to this one, I'll show you some answer scripts, right? I'll show you a set of answer scripts because you need to understand that we need to write it in a proper way. All right. Before that, I need you to show one thing which will be pretty much necessary for you. Or good necessary vehicle writing errors, right? Writing errors strategy set right? Strategy set what we need to remember, right? And before this, what I need you to show is the band descriptors. of your writing. Go through this video, which will let you know what you need to cover up, right, in your respective band descriptors.
Okay, so these are the band descriptors for the IELTS exam. These are the band descriptors for the IELTS exam. And as you can see, the highest possible score is a 9, and the lowest possible score that you can get is a 0. All right, it's almost virtually impossible to get a 0. The only way you get a 0 is if you just don't even show up for the exam, or you just come to the exam and you sit there and cry because you don't know what you're doing. All right, so it's really hard to get a 0. Okay. And basically, it's hard to get a bad score. It's hard to get a 1. It's hard to get a 2. I mean, you have to do really, really bad to get a 1 or a 2. I mean, really bad. And if you're getting a 1 or a 2, you probably shouldn't be taking the exam anyway. Okay, so I'm more speaking towards the people who are able to get a score of a 6, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, because to get into any decent, really decent university in the United States or the UK or Australia, New Zealand, you need to be getting scores of 6 or higher. All right. Especially if you want to go to a really, really good university, 7 or higher. That's what they're looking for. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. So as I told you earlier, when they're grading you, you're graded in your 4 areas. You're graded in your task achievement. You're graded in your coherence and cohesion. You're graded in your lexical resource. That means vocabulary. It's a fancy way of saying vocabulary. And you're graded on your grammatical range and your accuracy. So when people ask me, well, how do I get a 7 in my writing? Well, are you doing the things that get you a 7? How do I get an 8 in my writing? Are you doing the things that get you an 8 in your writing? Now, it's also important to understand that you can get different scores in different parts. For example, you might get a 7 in your task achievement, a 8 in your coherence, a 6 in your vocabulary, and a 6 in your grammar, right? And so then you would add up all those 4 scores and divide it by 4, and then that will get you your overall writing score for task number 1. Okay, so you don't have you possibly might not have the exact same score in each of these different 4 categories that we're looking at here. All right, but if for example, if you're going to get a 7 in your task achievement, it means that you present a clear overview of the main trends for task number 1, the differences in the different stages, right? You cover the requirements of the task. In terms of coherence for a 7, you logically organize the information and ideas. There's clear progression. That's why I tell you that you have to write 4 distinct paragraphs, and each paragraph has a purpose. You use a range of cohesive devices, right? It says right here, use a range of cohesive devices, right? What it means by cohesive devices, they're talking about using your connectors and your transitions, right? If you have really good cohesive devices in your writing, then you have good cohesion. That's what gets you a really good grade. All right, and see when you move down to its 6, right? It says you use cohesive devices effectively, but cohesion with and or between sentences may be faulty or mechanical. When they say mechanical, they mean like the basic forms they teach you in ESL school a lot of times. First, second, third, first, second, third, first, second, third. Right? If you want to move up.
Right. So this person is telling about what you need to have when it comes to band descriptors, right? Writing band descriptors. You need to have an idea about that, right? Because that we need to have a good understanding about the band descriptors to target our required discourse. අපේ required discourse එකක් ගැන කතා කරන්න ඕන නම් අපිට තියෙන්න ඕන target එක නේද? Without no target, we cannot do. Sorry. Right? So I think that most of you are in 7 case, right? Covers the requirement of the task. You know that we have 4 marking criteria, sorry. Task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical range and accuracy. When it comes to task achievement, covers all requirements of the task. Serama requirement cover up and now, right? You cannot keep one thing behind. Or right? You can't. So you need to cover up everything. All right. Cover up everything should be a must. Okay. Cover up everything is a must. Right. Present fully develop position and answer to the questions. All right. You need to give fully developed answer. Right. Not half developed cases. All right. Not the half developed cases. Right. Clearly present a fully developed response. Right. Band 9. Right. Covers the requirements of the task. Academic present a clear overview of the main trend. Right. Main trend. Yeah, like a kalima keladi, main trend, differences of the stages. In general training, right, present a clear purpose with the tone, right, clearly presents and highlights the key features. Bullet points could be more extended, right? You need to highlight everything clearly, these bullet points and everything, right? And coherence and cohesion, logically organize information and ideas. There's a clear progression throughout, right? Use a range of cohesive devices appropriately. Linking words, you need to use them appropriately. And when it comes to lexical resources, sufficient range of vocabulary, right? It should be a sufficient range, right? On the range, not a bad range, right? Less common lexical items may produce occasional errors, but you can produce occasional errors, but don't do it, right? Use a variety of, and then comes to grammatical range and accuracy. Use a variety of complex sentence structures, right? Produces frequent error-free sentences, has good control over grammar and punctuation, but make few errors, right? But don't make few errors because it will reduce your marks, right? I'll send this clear PDF, right, to all of your groups. Please go through them before you write anything, because otherwise you'll not be able to find a proper target, right? Or a proper target එකක් නැතුව යන්නේ පුතේ මතක ඇතුව ඒ නිසා ඔන්න ඔය දෙන එක ඔය එවපු එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කියවන්න. ඕක තමයි ඉස්සෙල්ලම කරන්න ඕනේ. ඕක කියවලා අන්න වැඩේට අත ගහන්න টොප් එකේ ලියන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න තියෙනවා task 2 එක 1 එකයි වුව මම, right? With this I have attached task 3, task 2, sorry. Go through it and try to see what are the target you need to take, right? What are the targets you need to take, because it can help you a great deal. I know that. All right. So task 1 is task 1 and 2 is there. Go through them, right? Which will help you a great deal to gain marks. All right. Go through it, right? So when you come to a situation like this, you need to follow up this directly. Okay, make අනිවාර්යෙන් follow up එක දෙන්න. because if you don't follow them, you will be in trouble, right? All the trouble you have. Okay, and what I can do is I will show you a set of answers, right? To have an idea, I'm not going to write an answers right now. I'll show you something to have an idea. All right, guys, to have an idea about what is actually you need to do. Okay, because without having a clear-cut idea, I don't think that you'll be able to do this, right? Hold on, rough writing. So what you actually need to do is you need to train your eyes, right? ඔයාගේ as දෙක train වෙලා තියෙන්න ඕන general cases ටික ටක් ටක් ගාලා අරන්. හරිද? ඒ කියන්නේ දැකපු ගමන් major trends ටික. You need to have an ability to find them out, right? You must have an ability to find them out. All the general cases, general trends, right? General trends කියන එක ඔයාට ටක් ගාලා වට අල්ලගන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා because if you are unable to find out what the general trends, how can you write the general overview, right? මම එකක් පෙන්නන්නම් what actually they are looking for, right? මොකද මේ general overview කියන එක කියන්නේ කියන මම එකකින් මම පෙන්නන්නම් ඔයාලට because I think that it should be there in your case. ඒක ඔයාගේ ඒ ලියන එකේ මම හිතනවා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා මොකද නැත්තම් ඒක ඔයාටම තමයි බලපාන, right? So please, when you're writing, please be careful. All right, hold on, I'll share it. Right, I think you can see this, right? I'll take it down. All right, මෙන්න මේ තියෙන graph එක දිහා බලපු ගමන් ඔයාලට දෙයක් පේන්නේ graph එකේ. මේ graph එකේ අවුලක් තියෙනවා, right? මේ graph එක දැකපු ගමන් මොන දේ කරන්නත් කලින්, right? You need to your eyes should be able to see a difference. මෙන්න මෙයා, right? මෙන්න මෙයා සහ මෙන්න මෙයා, right? You need to have that ability. Otherwise, how can you write? All right. So I'll show you a video on how to write Task1 bar graph. Task1 bar graph. A general overview. Actually, general overview. I need to show you the general overview.
Okay, so now let's move on and look at how to do an overview for the bar graph. All right, we did an introduction for this bar graph already, right here, and it says in the bar chart presented for analysis, we can observe the cellular phone sales for 4 companies in the number of millions during the specific years 2009, 2001, 2011, and 2013. Okay, and so we have that there in terms of our introduction. Okay, and now we have to move on to our general overview. So in terms of a general overview, it's very straightforward. We can just look at each year and talk about who is at the top and who is at the bottom, okay? Because that's what a general overview is. You're giving a general overview to the reader of what's the general information we can see. And then with our paragraphs 3 and 4, we get into our specific comparisons of the details, okay? So that's the way that we want to be able to manage and handle our specific numbers in terms of comparisons. All right, so let's have a look at a general overview here. Our general overview here is going to be really straightforward. First, when we look at the year 2009, 2009 is the bar that's on the left. All right, 2009 is the bar that's on the left, and then 2011 is in the middle, and then 2013 is on the right. It goes in ascending order, right? So when we look at 2009, the highest sales were for Nokia, and the lowest sales were for Apple. Isn't that interesting? For 2009, the highest sales were for Nokia, and the lowest sales were for Apple in terms of global mobile phone sales by brand. So that will make up our first sentence. For the year 2000.
Right. දැන් මෙයාම කියනවා මේකේ ඔයාට ඉස්සෙල්ලාම පේන්න ඕන general overview එකේ උඩම තියෙන ටික සහ වැඩිම ටික සහ පල්ලෙහා ටික. ඔන්න ඔක තමයි general overview කියන එක මෙතන ලියන්න. දැන් බලන්න මම මේක කරනවා. නවත්තනවා. Right. දැන් බලන්න මම පෙන්නන වීඩියෝ එක. ආයි මගේ මේක බලන්න මම මෙන්න මේ පෙන්නන ආන්සර් එකේ ඔයාලා ටිකකින් එක පෙන්නේවි. Right. මෙන්න මේ ටික. Right. මේ general overview එක නෙමෙයිද ලියලා තියෙන්නේ වෙනස් එකක්. හොඳට බලන්න. ඒක නෙමෙයිද මේ ලියවිලා තියෙන්නේ. Right. ඒක නෙමෙයිද මේ තියෙන්නේ. මෙතන පැහැදිලිව කියලා තියෙනවා විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ චුට්ට. Right. මෙතනින් පටන් ගන්න. මෙතන පැහැදිලිව කියලා තියෙනවා it is clear that the research funding allocation are not wholly determined by the seriousness of the disease. Right. It's not seriously determined. Right. ඒක ඇත්තටම මේ බලලා නැහැ. ඇත්තටම මේක serious ලෙඩේ gravity එකත් එක්ක නෙවෙයි target කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right. ලෙඩේ gravity එකත් එක්ක නෙමෙයි target කරලා තියෙන්නේ. All right. So මෙන්න මේක තමයි අපි general overview කියලා කියන්නේ. හරිද? මේක නෙමෙයිද දැන් මෙතනත් පෙන්නන්නේ. මෙතනත් පෙන්නන්නේ ඕක නෙමෙයි. ඕක නේද? ඔන්න ඕක මතක. Right. ඔන්න ඕක ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න. හරිද? ඔන්න ඕක තමයි කරන්න ඕන දේ. හෙට හරිද? හෙට මම ඔයාලට මේකේ උත්තර ටිකත් ලියලා මම පෙන්නනවා. හරිද? මේ උත්තරත් මම ලියලා පෙන්නනවා. So please follow the methods, right? Follow the methods and then go and do this, right? My formats හරියට follow කරන්න. මම මෙතන තියෙනවා bar charts වලට, right? Model answers ඊට පස්සේ මෙතන මේ bar chart එකක් තියෙන්නේ. මම මේවා හෙට එකකින් එක ලියන්න. mount කරපු මේවට එතනවා, right? මම හෙට මේකකින් එක ඔයාලට ලියලා පෙන්නනවා. All right. So until tomorrow, let's have a break and do this. All right. Then good night all. Good night, Amarama.